Oh,
It's totally fine. I don't need to, you know?
like eventually I will.
Yeah. I mean,
I don't care. Huh? Hmm.
so no desire.
Yeah, and what you should care. Then
What
other
should I
people
care?
say, well, you should care.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a control, right?
A
Amazing.
declaration of what matters to me, it should matter to you.
Hmm. I should have the same interest as you.
Mm.
Because we're together.
Mm.
And if you want to belong, then you should be doing the same thing.
Amazing how that can play the other way too, right?
Hmm.
I've already put it together. I'm already past my time to go to sleep. Mm. I don't need to sit down on it. I need to go. I desire to go to my bed.
Hmm.
Interesting. All habits inside of it, aren't they? Right under the surface. Habits under the surface. Still fitting that into that, what you shared. Desires lead to intentions that craft thoughts, shape feelings, create actions that build habits, shape behaviors.
Mm. Yeah, beautiful said.
Set up for a guy that was paralyzed that he could walk in 100 days.
Yeah.
Doctor said he couldn't. Stretching beyond our capabilities.
Yeah, stretching beyond what we know.
What we know. Stretching beyond our habits. What's familiar. Morning, Craig.
Come on, Craig.
We're stretching this morning.
Mm. Yeah, then I watched another podcast. I don't know if you guys know about Billy Carson. And he was like, I'm so excited for the election again. I got the chance to vote for myself again. So he literally, that's what he does. He goes and votes and he put his name on. And he was like, imagine if everybody does that instead than giving our power to authority. And realize that we have the power, each individual of us. He said, I don't care who gets in that office that's going to get elected because it's rigged anyway. He said, what I care is that I'm responsible for my life. I can make the choice that I want.
Isn't that stretching social norms?
Yeah.
Stretching habits, stretching behaviors, stretching.
Here's an even wider view of that. There's very few people on the planet who are actually obeying their inner authority. In fact, most people don't even know they have one. Basically, most people are just doing what they've been told or what they believe is expected of them. And it's all external.
Yeah, controlling the outside environment.
Well, yeah, the outside environment actually controls most people.
Right. When you should start with yourself.
Yeah.
The inside.
Yeah.
that isn't free. That isn't choice. That's just a program.
Exactly. It's a very foundational one. Foundational societal program.
Like methodology that Pascal shared. It's like, oh, it's working it backwards. Here's my behaviors. Here's my habits. Here's my actions, my emotions, thoughts, intentions, desires.
Yeah, you start from the outside in. Yeah. Nice way to view it, for sure.
Yeah. See, there's an assumption that as children, we have no way of knowing what's best for us.
Mm.
And I propose that the opposite is true. Is that the only one that has any idea what's best for us is ourselves. But the truth is it's innate. It's part of us already. Our truth is there. According to our unique design.
According to our desire.
Yeah, the desires of our own heart. Like it's written what we're meant to be. Like it's like we come here with meaning already pre-installed. And we know it. We know it intimately.
Well, of course, like frustration requires two things. Where we are and a place that we want to be.
Yeah, so what happens when we come into life like that and keep facing opposition over and over and over again?
As a child, going for what we wanted, facing opposition of why we can't do that.
Exactly.
The 500 no's every day to 5 yeses.
Exactly.
That shapes behaviors.
Shapes everything. Shapes everything. It shapes it all.
Which confirms that outside in.
Yeah. Yeah.
Until we find or discover, get to the place that outside in meets up with the desires, and it's like that doesn't match up.
Right.
then we experience feelings about it that most of us can't put words to because we have 3 words for feelings: sad, mad, and joy. Which sounds to me like a child's view of emotions. We have those as I mean, that's the ones that we experience mostly anyway, isn't it?
Yeah.
As a little intellect, if you will, a small vocabulary, that's a better word.
Yeah, and keep in mind it's pre-verbal, all of this.
Funny
Which
enough,
means-
yesterday. Oh yeah, you go ahead. Sorry.
It's like because that's so important. That means it's before words.
Yeah. But there's meaning. There's meaning there already before words even exist.
Yeah, through the expression of an emotion, of a vision, of a desire. It's through the desire. We just don't have words for it. We still don't have words for it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the shape of it. That's what we're shaping as we call life.
So yesterday was quite funny to me. I start crying like nonstop. He's not hungry. His diapers changed. Everything. He's just really fussy. And
Yeah.
then my wife is around and she's like, pick him up. And then like, I just close my eyes for a second. I just like see Om. So I start singing Om, Om, like 3 or 4 times. And then like, all of a sudden he's like, completely stop crying.
Hmm.
So when we're talking about the stuff we don't know or nonverbal, it was very interesting. And then I did it again at one point when my mother-in-law was there. You know, I was kind of like shy in a sense, but in the same time, I was like, well, if it works, you know, they'll see a demonstration. So I did it again, and the same thing, like it just calmed him right down.
Sort of cool.
Wow.
Instead, then picking him up and, you know, like try to soothe him. I just left him exactly where he was.
Wow. Look at that pattern. Yeah, like, oh, pick me up, soothe me, hold me, bounce me around, and like, do you that see how that becomes that as a child grows up with that and doesn't get it anymore?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And I felt right after, like I sang that, the connection between me and him got stronger. I felt it. It was just like, I was amazed.
Yeah.
Then my wife, like right after, she was like, oh wow, he's calm now, so let's move the couch.
I'm not. You need to do that to me.
Yeah, yeah.
Soothe me first, woman. Hmm.
Yeah, I was beyond words.
There you go. Beyond words. Because I was going to ask you if you ever tried communicating telepathically with him, but without using words, like non-verbally,
Right.
like just communicating like energetically.
Yeah, I tried a little bit.
Yeah,
Um,
because that's a form of it. Doing an audible vibration.
yeah.
Like an ohm sound is an audible vibration that doesn't have words to it. So that's the same kind of thing.
Mm.
So it's interesting to me that came to you to even try that.
Yeah, yeah.
Sounds pretty providential to me.
Yeah. Well, I follow that intuition, I guess.
Yeah,
Right.
yep,
I trust it.
yeah, because you already know. You already know effective responses.
And you always get a question. You always get an answer when we ask the question.
Yep.
And intuition's the word that we use to say, oh, I asked the question and I listened to what I got.
Yep.
And that is inside out.
Well, here's the other side of that too. Is he knows that you're asking the question. He knows that you're using your intuition. He's observing that being modeled. But all that knowing is happening in an unseen realm. It's happening in a higher dimension.
An unseen communication.
Yep. See, when we come into this life, we know a lot more about the fifth and sixth dimensions than we do about the first four. Because we came from higher dimensional reality.
It is how we created ourselves.
Exactly.
Yet we think it's just a process that happens inside of another human being.
Right. We think it's a process that's initiated and planned and everything within the original 4 dimensions, and it's not. It's all set up on the other side, and even the choice as to birthplace, birth date, parents, who, the whole thing is all predetermined, predestined. And then we insert that into a 4D reality. And we have no experiential memory. We have energetic memory of everything, but we don't have any experiential memory. And so that whole 4D reality and the experiential memory kind of takes over our awareness.
Here's an interesting one that I learned yesterday. Our
Yeah.
adrenals, which sit just above our kidney,
Uh-huh.
they're in connection with our spiritual connection. Because adrenals they control everything that's automatic. Plus, or when we're like in fight or flight or rest and digest. So if they're out of whack, if you're always like in that fight or flight, then it's really hard to connect to higher realm.
Yeah. Yeah, I can attest to that.
And the way, like when you take your blood pressure,
Yeah.
so it's systolic and diastolic.
Yeah.
So the systolic is actually your adrenals, and the diastolic is your kidney. So you can really see how it is function.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, I didn't know that either.
Yeah, I'm going to have to look into that because it's like, yeah. Because I know when I was in extreme distress, I had very limited access to any intuitive, psychic, any higher dimensional ability. Like I couldn't access it.
Mm-hmm. yeah, at first I didn't make the correlation, and then like he didn't really say why, but I was just like, okay, parasympathetic and sympathetic. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. Was that a video you watched or something?
Yeah, well, like one of those. I don't know if it's TikTok or Reel, or I can send it to you. If you like,
Yeah. Share it with me in Messenger, please.
I think I found it on Instagram, but it's yeah. I'd like to find the full length because, like, I mean, I don't mind these TikTok Reel, but it doesn't give you the whole picture. So
Well, yeah.
that's why I like listening like podcasts, but even better, it's like read the books of the author or whatever. Like,
Yeah.
but a podcast gives you a pretty good idea if you want to go further and like do more research about the
Yeah.
person that's interviewed, right?
Yeah. A lot of cases you don't really need to go further because the way certain pieces of information are coming in now, it's just a matter of connecting the dots.
Right.
So what you just shared with me today, or at least for me, was just it was a huge dot that connects a whole bunch of things together. You know, and that thing about the blood pressure is interesting too. So the first number is your adrenals, and the second number is your.
I think like yeah, I'm not. Yeah, I think so. Because like the first one is like it's supposed to be like around 120 or so,
Yeah.
and that's your adrenal. Or vice versa, but like
Yeah, a normal BP is, I think it's 120/80.
yeah, that's what they say. Yeah.
And the lower number is, what was that again?
Is your kidney. So your kidney function.
Interesting. Because what I was going to say here too is that, all this work that I've been doing on myself since I was in a very distressed state has been about rediscovering my inner authority and learning how to attend to that inner authority and to follow it, like on a moment by moment basis.
Your inner knowing.
Yeah, it's the inner knowing, it's the inner truth that's always been there. And It is the path of least resistance for a human being, period. It is the path. It's your own unique path of least resistance, is your inner authority. And it gets easier and easier to sense when you're off. When there's energy around you that's off.
Yeah, when you're in your mind and you're not in your desire and intention.
Yeah. That too. That's part of it. And another part of it too is another huge part of it is timing. So one of the most real pressures in the world today, in living in the world today, are around timing. You know, like advertising and marketing is all about taking quick action. And what I'm discovering is, in fact, I just was dealing with this last week, is like, I know that what's correct for me is to partner up with a certain person in a certain way, but the timing isn't there yet.
What has to happen?
Well, it's not what has to happen. It's like part of the knowing is the timing. Because my inner authority already knows the optimal time.
And when would you know?
When I get a signal.
There's a signal.
My
And
inner
where that
authority
signal
will
is
give
gonna
me
come from?
give me a signal. Same place all the signals come from.
From the heart?
It's very internal. Mine is splenic impulse, and it's like it's kind of a gut impulse. Lets me know when.
That's by saying yes yes, and that's in front of us.
Yeah. In fact, I was just going to say that too. It's like I'll get yes impulses as well.
That's interesting.
So it's gut and intuition for me.
Mhm.
And it's an impulse.
think most of us, I think I would say we all get it. It's what we do with it. And
Well, and yeah, and when we do with it.
well, I agree.
That's the most difficult piece, actually.
I think that leads into the mechanic. The win is right now when you get it. And I think like what I experienced was when I got it, I would judge it, evaluate it, validate it, or change it to make sense.
Oh boy, isn't that revealing?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Rather than
yeah.
just going with the first. And that's still a pattern.
Yeah. Yeah.
That is what I'm learning to decipher.
Yeah. 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 That's interesting you bring it up like that, Jesse, because I've had to restrain myself from allowing my head to get in it.
Right. That is exactly saying the same thing. Is the head wants to be in charge of it.
Right. Yeah.
Young conditioning for me and for most.
Oh, for everybody. Yeah, we're trained from the time we're very young to make decisions from our head. With our head. How do you make a big decision? You make a list of pros and cons, and you weigh them out and that kind of thing, and you totally ignore what your body's telling you.
Yeah. The point is you got something right away. You didn't say yes to it.
Wow, yeah.
You're not trusting yourself.
Yeah, there you go.
What was that again?
You're not trusting yourself.
Right. Yes. You're not trusting your innate inner wisdom.
Trying to make sense of something that doesn't need to make sense. It's the whole joy of it is to be like, what is that? And that's what we practice. That's what we practice with these words.
Trying to make sense out of something that your body is already sensing.
Exactly.
Trying to explain what you're sensing.
That's
yeah,
right.
and you can't. It's on a whole higher level.
Better yet, yeah. I think
than you can even understand.
One is not to frame it into making one point of sense.
Yeah.
That is limiting it to it. It's rather than curious and open to how that shows up. Because the timing goes to that doesn't mean it's like, I'm supposed to do something with it right in the moment. That's what we assume.
Yeah, there's a lot of training there too.
Mm-hmm. Both good and bad training, or past habit training versus new habit training, fostering training.
Yeah, who says it has to make sense?
Right. Mom and dad.
Yeah,
Friends.
everything in our society says that.
And it's really like, it doesn't have to make sense right now. It will make sense later.
That's right. Because it would only make sense when you look back and say, ah, there it is.
It's those connection, right? Like, you know, I'm sharing things today and it might not make sense to you.
Or you.
For you. But
Or
then you'll be
you.
like, ah,
Yeah.
that's it.
Connection, right? Open to the connection, stretching
Yeah.
the connections.
Being open.
Curious. Those are all spaces.
Non-attachment.
I have to share it here. It's my wife. She looks at the job postings and she shares this one. She's like, my old the company I used to work for, who I do a lot of service work for today, has a position open, and it was like, oh yeah, if that was like to go back, it would be for a position like that. So I applied. Now that and the point of it is why I quit originally was they wouldn't give me the space to do the project that my service company has been providing for 17 years. And my way to come back to the offer is to do my offer and have the freedom to do it, which gets them in their greenhouse gas component that moves everything along. It's like, that's the only way I'll come back.
Oh, interesting.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
You
It's
can't
Now
say
you're
no
on
to
the
me.
driver's seat.
You can't keep saying no.
Now you're in the driver's seat.
Well, yeah, well, and then of course there's habits and practices which say, well, you have to let go of your conflicts of interest. So new structures I've got in place will be like, guys, well, you know, if it comes up, it's like I don't know how it's going to go. But it might be the way that we need to get this thing going, that we're working on it together.
Yeah, it could be.
You know, I don't know. But it was like, as it came up, it's like, yeah, that's one I could say yes to.
What fascinates me about all this is that you knew all that and you laid the groundwork for it 17 years ago.
Yeah. Well, it didn't feel like it. I mean, and who knows?
Well, it didn't feel like it then, but
Not at
but
all,
that's the
man.
truth.
Yeah, right.
Because here it is, 17 years ago, it actually shows up exactly the way that you conceived it.
No, I don't have the job, right? But it was quite
No,
funny what
but-
I put on I reshaped my resume and I put it right at the top. One of the reason what I will come back, like, here's my offer to you. So we'll see if they even read the resume. This is my offer to you. This saves the oil industry. This keeps this asset here in Bakersfield, and it helps corporate hit their goal.
Wow.
Most people, and I wrote in there, I say, most people say no to this. I hope it's not you. Right in my resume.
Awesome.
You know, it was fun, right? It was fun.
Are you going to be the first one to say yes? I only need one.
That's right. I only need one, right? I mean, in all reality, yeah, whatever, beside the point, but the point of it is that it brings up a changing situation with people that are structuring their lives to come over and do this thing with me. And it's like, well, guys, this is what's in front of me now.
Yeah.
Some people could expect that, oh my God, that changes everything. And another person could say, like, oh, maybe that opens everything up.
Hmm.
I look at it, there's a scarcity and abundance side of it, is like the structure is conflicts of interest. They tend to not hire conflicts of interest. Oh, well, all of it can be worked through. I'm just working with what, the expectations that come in with it, the thinking that comes behind it, the logical that comes in behind the desire.
Yeah, logic tends to stop everything in its tracks.
It definitely hinders creation. The intention is no different. The desire is no different. The action, maybe, but the action's always changing. It's the expectation around how the action needs to look, or how I think it needs to look, and stretch it beyond that.
Well, it's not your business to know how it's going to work.
Hmm.
As long as you have
Right.
the desire and the intention.
Timing again.
Yeah. It can unfold any shape or form, but it's irrelevant.
Good word, Pascal. It's irrelevant. The how is irrelevant.
I think that comes to what you opened with, Pascal, right? Was the guy that paralyzed that doctors couldn't do anything with, and said he'd walk in 100 days.
Yeah.
That's a major skill piece of what we're working with here, is the ability to allow the how to be irrelevant. To let creativity take over.
Yeah, and to flow like water. Where does water go?
Yeah. Yeah.
There's mechanics to it, right? You could.
Well, it finds its own path of least resistance, right?
Exactly.
Free flow.
Yeah. It doesn't work any harder.
No, it just does what it does.
Yeah, it's like with your resume.
Wherever it can.
It's like with your resume, like it's like you crack the rock, and now you just let the water flow.
I love it. Reminds me of I read it in a book somewhere, but it was very sim thing. It was like back in the Civil War days, they had some cannons, right? The cannonballs, right? The balls they needed to get rid of. And they couldn't figure out what to do with them. They didn't want to fill them all up and blow them up, and so they paid big money for someone to come up with a way to get rid of them, like break them up, right? So what does a guy do? Guy fills it with water, puts a cork in it, and lets them freeze.
Perfect.
And they're like, and then they're like, well, what did you do? And they told him, he's like, well, we're not going to pay you for that. And he's like, no, I delivered what you wanted. And they
Yeah,
paid
no
some
kidding.
crazy amount of dollars because no one could figure out what to do with it. I don't know how true the story is. I mean, I don't know how well I represented it, but the point of it was brilliant.
Here's something along those same lines. When the nation of Israel was running around the desert, following Moses around, God tells Moses, he says, speak to the rock and water will come out of it.
Mm.
Sure enough.
Just imagine that.
The how is irrelevant.
Wandering around the desert, right? For days, no water, and some kook sits down and talks to a rock.
Yeah, yeah.
Kook that we've been following.
Well, yeah, exactly.
And now we're starving and thirsty.
Yeah, and then they got quail and they got manna too.
One of them, a story I can't believe.
Funny thing about that story is that it was all unnecessary.
Mm.
Because it was an 11-day trip from Egypt to the promised land, and they got there and they sent 12 people in to spy on the country that they were going to possess, right? And 10 guys came back and said no, it was impossible. 2 guys said that yeah, let's go. And they ended up going with the 10 and ended up in the desert for 40 years. And incidentally, the only people that actually made it into the promised land were the 2 that said yes. Everybody else in the nation died off.
Interesting. Shoulda, coulda, woulda, huh?
To me, that's a story all about inner authority and the truth of it and the path of least resistance.
Which is yes.
which is creation.
Yes, and
Yes, and path of least resistance. As much as we want to make it no.
and it's not going to make any sense.
Not gonna make any sense.
So don't even bother trying.
And better yet, connect how to make it make sense. Create possibilities that it could. Isn't that what creation is? Look at the difference between looking backwards and looking forwards in terms of timing. Craig, did you have a word for the day?
Yeah, my word for today is timing. Time is the portal. Time is the insertion point. Time is the bridge. The bridge between dimensions.
Timing is precision.
Yep. Yep.
And the creativity of conception, of original conception, can happen at any time. It's totally open.
So be ready.
Yeah, yeah. There's a gestation and a development that makes ready for the precise time it comes into form.
Be ready to receive.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes, and is the timing.
Yeah. Anticipation is preparing to receive the form.
In the perfect time, in the perfect order.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes,
Yeah,
and.
the things I've conceived of in my life, the dreams I've had, the visions I've had are all large enough to affect millions of people. Which is why not many of them have come into form yet.
Mhm.
But right now I'm really feeling the invitation to nurse them along, to nurse them into form. In conjunction with others. You know, I found out I was watching an ad, believe it or not, but I found out that online learning, the online learning industry is forecast to be worth $500 billion by 2026. $500 billion.
500B.
Yeah, close to 500 billion. And when I realized that I'm one of the original developers of that, I go like, holy shit, look what I started.
Yep. Sure didn't look like it then, did it?
Sure didn't look, no, it didn't look anything like that.
Did it make sense back then?
It did to me.
Yeah. I was gonna say
Right.
to you it did.
But here's the funny part is what we see as online learning today is only like maybe 1 or 2% of what was designed back then. Like it's very, 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 very little has shown up so far. and that's $500 billion worth. You know what I mean? Like it's just crazy. When you look at the potential in that, it just kind of blows you away. And I don't know what the net worth of Zoom, the company, is, but that was mine too.
Yeah, everything's got a timing.
Yep, exactly.
And it's not like we're the only ones that get them in the creation of the world.
Well, exactly. That's exactly my point.
They're all different. All different desires. All different.
Well, that's why I
journeys.
was mentioning to you about 17 years ago when you were with that company. It's like you started something and here we are 17 years later, it's kind of coming full circle. You know,
Yeah.
and here it presents itself again. But you
Mhm.
started that.
Mhm.
You're the originator. And 17 years ago, you had no clue that that's what you were doing, did you?
No, not at all.
Not at all, not even remotely. I sure as hell didn't. I wasn't aware of what I was doing, but I knew what I was doing because it was all done super consciously. Back then.
Yeah, that's interesting. I've worked with how do I get it faster? That may be the answer.
Might be.
It might be.
Your inner authority knows.
Hmm. Exactly.
Mhm.
All the tests that would make it to say yes. Yeah. I can make that make sense.
Yeah, well, exactly.
I can look backwards and say, oh yeah, I see it that way.
So
I
here's the
surrender.
learning. Yeah,
I
here's the
surrender.
learning in this. It's learning how to do this in conjunction with, you know, how to do everything in conjunction with your super conscious and in full awareness of what's actually going on.
Mhm.
That's the learning part.
Yeah, yeah, it is.
And holy crap, is it fun? And you keep denying your self-consciousness, you know.
Yep.
That keeps wanting to take control of everything.
It does. Wants to make sense.
Yep. It wants to understand. As if that would make any difference.
Mhm. But we sure been raised that that's the way to do it. Convinced by society, that's the way. The path of least resistance.
Yeah, isn't that interesting?
As I closed my eyes in that, as I was working, like seeing that. First, I thought I was going backwards, meaning felt like I was moving backwards. And then as I looked at it more, it was no, it was pulling everything towards me, like not towards me, towards a point in the future or out there.
Yeah,
It's pretty cool.
yeah, that's big.
It's it keeps, there's always the one point. It just keeps pulling everything to one point.
Yeah, the truth is the field and creativity never run in sequence.
Mhm.
Are you seeing the benefit of being per se like an employee again?
Oh, I don't know. I haven't thought that far ahead. I don't know.
Because there's
Yeah, I don't-
benefit.
Yeah, there's definitely benefit. Well, I'm not going to think about it until the decision's in front of me.
Right.
Yep.
And that's what I've learned or am learning. There's a lot of things that got to come together before I even need to worry about that or think about it. Now I'll inform people that care or matter about it. Just to say that's what's happening. But any more than that, I'd just be speculating.
Mm-hmm. But you took action.
Yeah, all right, took an action. I did my part.
Well, and you know, things synthesize in no particular order. In no visible order.
Well, and none that's worth making sense for. We try so hard to make sense for it, but it's accumulation of everything. Point of it is that there's a decision maker on my end and a decision maker on the other end, and not until that intersection connects.
Well, exactly.
That's the beauty and the chaos of creation.
Yeah, exactly.
The beautiful chaos. There it is. The beautiful chaos of creation.
Is that what you want, though?
Hmm. Well, what I want, I don't know how to get to. So if
So
that is
the
a
next-
step, so if that is a next step along the way, then that's what I'll take.
Whether you want it or not, that's the truth of it.
Because the point is it's bigger than just that, but if that becomes the vehicle, then I can make a lot of sense of how that vehicle makes a lot of sense.
Do you have any doubt that it might not work?
Which one?
Like your end goal?
Oh yeah, of course.
then that's your
And no,
resistance.
and no, not at all. Like
Yeah.
it has to. It's going that direction. Is
Yeah.
it me? That's where the doubts would be. Is like, oh, is it me that brings it into existence? It's like to the idea that I've got. It's like, I don't know.
Or
I
one
know what happens if I
particular-
give up
one-
on it.
One particular how.
Yeah.
It ain't gonna be
One
one
out of a-
particular how.
Because like we were talking about frequency yesterday, and it's like if I want something, but then I have doubt of getting it, then it's a mixed signal.
Mhm.
So it's not a clear connection. But if there's no doubt in my mind, like this guy that, there was no doubt. And then like he even said in the interview, there was no doubt in my mind that I'm going to be walking.
Mhm.
There was none. So there's none that there's only one path. It's not like a
No.
share path.
Speaking it that way, there is no doubt that this is the way to get there. That it's not the full way, it's not the whole way, but it's my path to get there. Because it's not full enough. It's like it's not the whole part of it, it's just my part of it. And like, do I believe it is the best option that we have today? Without a doubt. For my niche, without a doubt. It doesn't mean that everyone believes me. It doesn't believe everyone sees it the same way, and that's where it comes into. That's where the resistance. It's a great point to, and so the resistance is, oh, am I doing the right things to get it there? That's the resistance. And then resistance is like, why the hell is it so hard? Do I want to keep beating my head against the wall, right? And then the other thing is like, well, then that's a giving up on it, which we're free to do too.
Right.
But I think for, I don't know if it does justice to say the behaviors of where I'm at with what I'm doing, I doubt. It's like, I don't think that doesn't honor the reality, the truth of the moment.
The timing.
Mhm. I think then otherwise I'm just saying affirmations, right? Yeah, which are half truth. And at the end of it, of course, it'll be, if when the outcome happens the way that it does, it'll be, of course, there was no doubt.
Yeah.
Yeah, all you can really do from here is apply correct energy and harmonic frequency to it, what you put out there, and just leave it at that. See if anybody else hums along. Really.
Better
It's
yet,
amazing how we connect dots today.
to not do what I've normally done, right? That's the
Oh, I just got something else that's big too. you continue feeding that. You continue feeding what you've conceived with the same energy that it started with. As in, you don't feed it doubt, you don't feed it question, you don't feed it making sense, you don't feed it any of that stuff. You feed it my superconscious knows best. Yeah. You hear what I'm saying?
I do.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Yeah, it's
Can you
like
say that again?
the early.
You feed it more energy. You feed it more of the same energy that you conceived it with. So you don't allow any doubt energy to get to it. You don't allow any gotta make sense energy to it. It's just you keep feeding it with that same conceptual energy that it started with.
That makes sense, and I'd say over time that energy has drained away, if you will, from and crept in because of the nose, for sure.
Yeah. Wow.
I mean, that's the part of the creation process, right? The germination,
Yeah, just keep nourishing the dream.
yeah. And the damn how is what pulls you down.
Yeah.
Pulls me down. The old pattern is to fight for it, right?
Yeah.
Fight to prove to fight to prove.
Or try to force it, or
Yep, that's the old patterns, forcing it. How else would you pay attention is like the sign that I get to the words that come. Bastard. See myself laughing. So interesting. Last night I had someone say, no, there are people that don't talk to themselves.
They don't talk to themselves?
Yeah.
find me one.
She said, I've talked to one. And I was like, okay. I've talked to them. And I was like, okay. So I'm working with that one, right? I'm just like, I want to put it out there just to work it for whatever reason.
Yeah.
I have a theory. I have a theory, but I wanted to like run it, see what you guys thought. Just as a fun exercise.
Okay.
So it sounds like your automatic was like mine, was to say like, I think everyone does.
Yeah. Yeah, I find it hard to believe that nobody does talk to themselves.
Yeah. Or has an internal self-talk, an internal dialogue.
Yeah.
Now, what I will say is like, there's a lot of people that are unaware they do.
Yeah. That's more like it.
That's what I think too. That's my theory. Because it wasn't too long ago where I was like, no shit, I do. Wow. And that was the first step to awareness for me.
Realizing your own self-talk.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Then, that was stepping in. Then I could see my patterns. I could see my defaults. I could see my automatics. I could see where I was creating things. So. And it's one of those things that when you're aware of, you cannot be unaware of it.
Yeah.
Which then falls into a fundamental truth from my book. So I do get the point. Is like, yes, I know everyone doesn't see the world the same way I do.
Well, yeah, that's why we're all unique. And then like, there's a beautiful story that like, well, it's like 5 guys, I believe, like they moved to the same city. One is like an engineer, one is like a window washer, one is a real estate agent, and so on and so on. And they all see it differently, so they move. And then the engineer was like, "Oh wow, this building is like shaped very differently. I would have done this to it or whatever." The other one, like the real estate, is like, "Oh, like there's so much potential here. I can sell those houses." The window washer just look at the windows, like, "Oh yeah, those are dirty. I should like put my flyers here." And just to show that like we all see life differently. But like you said, like awareness, when you see it, you cannot unseen it. Right? So it doesn't go backwards. Unless maybe like an accident or whatever, but like in majority, like when you saw it, like awareness just keep growing.
Awareness is boundless.
Awareness is boundless.
That's power.
And the more you stretch it.
Yeah.
Well, my word for today was embrace.
It was, huh?
Yeah.
What do you embrace? Like what to embrace?
Everything and nothing. I just frank what is. Embrace what is.
There's the something, huh?
There's something.
There's the something out of nothing and out of everything. There's something, even if it is a couch that your wife wants to sit on with you after you put it together, huh?
Yeah. Oh, I'll be sitting tonight on it.
Yeah, you're gonna fall asleep on it tonight, aren't you?
Yeah. And she'll be like, "You can't sleep on it. Like, you're gonna flatten the cushion."
Yeah, don't sit on it.
What are you wearing? You're wearing jeans? We might rip it.
You'll come home and it's got the wrap all over it,
The
right? The
wrapper
plastic
on
wrapper all around it. Like,
Yeah.
Pascal and the dogs, you can't sit on the couch.
Yeah. If you're dirty.
No, there you go. That's right.
Yeah.
How fun. Embrace. I love that word.
Mhm.
Embrace, stretch time, boundless awareness. Embrace the embrace boundless time. Timing, embrace boundless timing. There it is, timing.
Time to embrace what is.
I like that one.
It's the interesting thing about timing is it can fit anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
There's just a sweet spot and it greases the wheels.
Yeah. Well, and I think the something out of timing is that all we have is now. And now that we have now is like a location. It's the time. It's like, what do we choose to fill it with? Every moment of now, what are we choosing to fill our space with? And our space is no more than just our internal. It is the only one that we can control in the moment of now, in any time.
What are you occupying your own personal space with?
Mm-hmm. Filling it. Another word is like I say, filling. What are you filling your space with? Positive, negative, or neutral?
Yeah, when you said feeling it, like what came to mind is, you know, these sand time thing that you flipped around, like I can't remember.
Hourglass.
What's it called?
An hourglass.
Hourglass. Okay, so yeah, so the top portion is the future. The bottom portion is the past, and what's going through is the present time. And when you said like feeling it, like what you're putting, you know, what's your energy towards your future so you can experience in the now. I don't know if that's what you meant, but that's what came to mind. What's your
I love the
feeling
visual.
it?
Yeah. That's great. What's running through the moment of now? What's the energy running through the moment of now? Wow.
Ooh, that's a big one.
Not sand is it's the energy, your desires out there that's running through it, and you're running on the sand in the moment of now, or not running, but it's just flowing through you, right? Leaving something behind, going for something in the future energetically. Wow.
Wow. That's a very interesting concept, that whole thing about living in the energy of now. Wow.
Even embracing the energy of now.
Well, yeah, that's more. Yeah.
It's what is.
Because
It's
it's
what
here
is.
and because it's now. Wow.
Yeah, because like growing up, like with the family, I always had like during Christmas, you have so many parties, and there's always one parties that you're always like more excited about.
Mm.
And so you go through like, you know, the first one, and then you're like, yeah, it's okay. So you're just thinking about the second one, third one, whatever. And then like you're anticipating for like, but you can't be in the present of now, you know, because you're always thinking about, oh yeah, this one's going to be so good. And then like it really end up like, because you put so much, I think, energy or focus towards it, usually you're kind of disappointed. So now I decide that's a true choice. I choose the end result of living in the now.
Mhm.
Embrace what is.
Oh, I just got another one. The whole thing about sensing the energy that's now and embracing it. Like sensing it, embracing it, obeying it, conjoining with it, harmonizing with it, getting in sync with it. Wow.
Flowing through.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, hell, it's like in all reality, we are that point in the hourglass. We are that portal. We are that point. That's so cool.
Yeah. And then when you're in sync with it, it's easy to tell when you're out of sync with it.
The wobble.
Yeah. So it's, yeah, stay in sync with it.
Being in tune.
Yeah. Stay tuned.
Stay
tuned
tuned.
to it.
Stay
Well,
tuned.
that's what intuition is, right? You're in tune.
Oh, I'm really liking that hourglass metaphor, Pascal.
Mm.
Thank you. That's a very fruitful one for me.
Yeah. Then use it.
Already used it. That's why I
Share it,
thanked you.
use it. What's that?
That's why I thanked you.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. It's already expanded and continues to.
Yes, it is. It was a good one. A great morning, guys. I loved it. Thank you.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Enjoy your. Thanks for
This is a little
sharing
bit
your energy.
irrelevant for what we're talking about, but it's about power. So
Yeah,
that's
please.
why I wait to share it at the end. So I read an article that like a company is called Appeal. It's founded by Bill Gates. That is, he's putting that on Produce. And it says like it's supposed to keep the freshness, like I think like 5 times longer and stuff.
Is it
So
a
in
chemical or
Canada,
something, or
sorry?
is it a chemical or something, or?
Yeah, it is a chemical, you know, when you start looking into it. And, you know, there's so many danger to it. Like, you know, you're supposed to wear like protective glove and skin irritation, all that stuff. But like, and then like, I look at the comment and then like, they're bashing like crazy, right? About this, this new product. But my question is like, are you going to buy it? Because if you're not, then it's irrelevant for you. You know what I mean? So if nobody's going to buy it, then you won't be able to sell it. Right? So we go like, say like Costco, and then sometime there's a product that like we buy, and then we're like, oh, maybe I should buy a little more because you never know if the product will disappear. And it does happen, right? Because like there's less demand. So it's the same thing with, say, like our GMO food and stuff, like, or like our aisles is full of crap. It's because there's demand. People are buying it. So if we say, no, I'm not buying this stuff, then, you know, we're going to have what we want in the aisle or like in the produce section, but we're still demanding it. So that's why we're still getting it.
Mm-hmm.
So the power, we're giving the power always to, we say higher people or like corporation or whatever. But if we take our power, say, no, I'm not going to buy these cucumber if they're wrapless and then it says Appeal on them. I'm either going to go to a different store or I'm going to grow my own. It's a choice. So I kind of realize this on
Except
power.
the way these things work is that once something like that gets approved by the FDA, then it ends up being in pretty much everything you buy, whether you like it or not.
Yeah, but like in the same time, like, you know, you're always going to have
so you don't really have a choice.
Right. Why?
It's just another form of oppression.
Oh, no, for sure. But like, you know, if we don't buy these produce, it's kind of forcing us of like growing our own, right? There's
Well,
stuff
true.
like we can control, but we're forced to do things that we're like, oh yeah, well, it's difficult, right? Like start growing your own produce and whatnot.
Yeah.
But you know, like we have to come down to this, you know, because that's what our ancestors were doing.
Well, yeah.
Right? It's like, yeah, we're in a sense lazy, and we say we don't have time. Do you think they had like more than 24 hours in a day before? I don't think so. They found the time, and they had like 6, 7 children.
Yeah, but that's 6 and 7 children to weed the garden.
Yeah,
That's right. That's right. To do
So
the work.
maybe we
That's
have
the,
to.
that's the other half of it.
Hey, I got one. Well, he's
Yeah,
gonna
let's
be
see.
working hard in the garden.
There you go. See, yeah, yeah, which would just be a smaller garden,
Yeah,
but you
Yeah.
don't have to feed as many, so you don't need it to be as big either.
exactly. Yeah. So, no, I wanted just to
And
share that
it is-
because I thought like it was just like, okay, well, we're like if we
it-
say yes to it and we're buying it, these things, then that means we're saying yes, we want this.
Well, not really.
yeah,
By the time,
like
by the
there's-
time
there's-
it's in the market to the point where you have a choice about whether to buy it or not, it's already gone past your own personal choice point.
Well, I think you always have the choice. Like I said, like you can grow, or you can go to a farmer market. It might cost you like double, triple. I don't know, right? Because like they're making
The reason
You take the
oppression works
price,
is because everybody's
so-
doing it.
buy it.
Everybody's bought
Yeah.
into it.
But
You know,
in the same
it's
time,
the same
still a
reason my
choice.
parents taught me to obey them without question.
Right.
Because they bought into the illusion that higher authorities know better.
Yeah, no, exactly. And you know, we can talk for a long time about this, but yeah,
Just because it's
like,
Bill Gates and his billions of dollars that's behind it doesn't make it right.
yeah, and he should be my doctor too.
He's going to be.
Well, exactly.
Yeah, he takes
He
decision like
he
a
made
doctor.
millions
So,
off of COVID by pushing the vaccine.
oh yeah.
He funded it, right? So I mean, it's
Oh, yeah.
it's all this stuff. It's just
Well,
opportunism
he
with
said it was
opportunism
his best
with no heart.
investment ever. Yeah, he said like it was his best investment ever.
Yeah, well, exactly.
And I'm
I
like,
inve-
yeah,
I invest
perfect.
I invest in oppression, and it's my best investment ever.
Yeah.
Who cares
Yeah,
if it's
yeah.
true or not? Obviously not him.
Or it is true for him.
Apparently,
It is,
Yeah.
And it is true for him that he's saving the world, providing a service. It is true for him that, the best I can tell. Now, I can't tell what is real truth except for what's, spoken on the outside. And I think, Pascal, to your point, is that people are coming to realize the type of influence they have, I hope. Which means like Bud Light, for example, agree or disagree with it, Bud Light's marketing campaign that turned sour on them.
Hmm.
know,
Yeah,
people are
people have a little bit
realizing.
more discernment for sure.
Yeah, so people are now saying like, oh, look, I do have it, and good or bad, I think it's better that people are saying like, oh no, look, my voice does matter. That's
Yeah.
huge. That's a huge change. That means people are starting to care, which is another huge change.
Right. Yeah.
That people
No,
are starting to
exactly.
think about it. And it's like, oh, that's a huge change. Rather than just doing their normal shit, they're actually taking a stand for something. I'll take
Yeah.
that any day.
Yeah, that's an awareness change.
Yes,
Yeah.
without a doubt.
Yes.
Is it an important one? Well, I don't think so much, but all right.
But it
It's
is
a
an
step.
awareness.
It's a step forward, though.
Yes,
Right.
yes. You can't go backwards on it now.
No. No.
And there'll always be someone there to take advantage of it. Yeah, that's Right Dad Beer is going to sell $1 million the next month.
Mm.
Weird that guy beat Trump to it. It was like, dang it, Trump missed out on that one.
What was that? What was that?
It's called Right. I think it's called Right Dad Beer or Right Beer Dad, something like that. It's just it's a right. It's like and Trump missed out on that one because Trump really could have like taken advantage of
Oh,
Bud
yeah.
Light's mistake by saying, "Here's Trump beer," or something.
Yes.
But I mean, you just see how well, two things. It's like fueling the divide.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, and that's a good way to differentiate too. Is what's fueling the divide and what's fostering unity.
Nobody. I mean, until people decide that that's what they want, unity versus the decide is a process.
Yeah.
But you have to start with the awareness of it, right? And
Yeah, I realize that individualism isn't all it's cracked up to be.
that's right. That's right. That takes an awareness, right?
But that's an age-old conflict principle that they used in Roman times. Divide and conquer.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
You got 100 people, you divide them in groups of 3, and it's easy to wipe them out.
Yeah, it's exactly what's happening.
Yeah. It's been going on for millennia.
That's why the black are against the white, and the white are against the black, and and the straights are against the gay, and the gay are straight.
Rich and the poor.
Yeah.
It's everywhere.
Yeah.
Because it's making
religion,
people in
right?
the world very rich, right?
Religions, it's a big one.
Same thing.
Yep.
My religion is better, than yours, and like we know with COVID, like it was just like the split between the vaccinated and the unvaccinated. It was huge, right?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, you can't come to my house, you're unvaccinated. Well, you cannot come to my house, you're vaccinated.
Yeah. Yeah.
So nobody sees each other. They're all scared.
Yeah.
So they win both ways.
Yeah.
Right? Oh, one side is shedding, and the other side, oh, I'm not protected.
Yeah.
And
absolutely none of it was based on truth.
Neither side respected the other side's choice.
No.
That's the point of it.
until kind of now, for the most part, like people are like, you know, it didn't really make sense. You know, we separate each other because of this, really, you know. So now you're seeing people getting back together slowly,
Yeah.
but how many people lost friends, family, all that, right? So, yeah.
This is interesting to me too, because I just went with my inner authority, and I didn't tell anybody what choice I'd made.
Mm.
So I could face the world as a neutral. And not engage with it.
Right. Yeah, that's big.
Yeah, it is big. And I don't know how I knew to do that, but that's,
Yeah,
it
because
turns out that's what I did. And I realize now how freakingly wise it was. Wow.
yeah, because I definitely engage. I
Yeah.
went pretty hard on it
Yeah.
until I realized it's a choice, right? And you sign up or not, it's up to you. But one thing I'm proud is like I stick to my gun, whatever decision I took, right?
Yeah.
I embrace it. I was like, okay. I was ready for the consequences if either way.
Well, and that's how it is too. You know, when you start following your inner authority, you know, it's like that. You're gonna get tons of opposition.
Oh yeah.
Because you're not, because you're not
It's
towing the
understatement.
line, or you're not following the status quo, or you're not whatever, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah, big time. You're
Again,
quack. Yeah.
it's that demonstration of, well, out there is affecting me. Same thing. And when we can be united with people's choices, accepting both side, it has to be like people got the vaccine to protect themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that they
Yeah.
didn't die. They cared about it. Yet people walked around that weren't vaccinated, spreading it to everyone that they wanted to. That was not thinking about the other person.
Yeah. That's why
And
there
at
was
least
huge
have the
outbreaks
decency
in
to put the
Yeah.
mask on,
the
right?
mask
I
on.
mean,
Yeah, exactly.
you know, like have the decency for that, because people are old that we care about that died, that like family members died. That's the truth of it.
Yeah.
And it's like every debate is what we're in right now around that. And people are taking sides, digging in the heels and not having a conversation about it.
Yeah.
Huge awakening, I hope. Or at least it is just one step to the next one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's definitely not the end. Embracing, right? Embracing.
Mm-hmm.
Embracing. embracing humanity, human choice, embracing it.
And knowing that that you take it or not, that you can self-heal.
Mhm.
It's possible.
Yes.
There's a possibility.
For those that believe they can, yes.
Yeah,
It is not a possibility for those that don't believe that.
right.
Right.
That shut
So-
down the possibility.
Yeah.
Or that think they need protection.
You know, and here is like, I'm going to trust that authority.
Yeah.
Why would they do anything that's wrong for me? Why would they be incentivized to hurt me?
Only that they have over and over and over again in your lifetime. While trying to convince you that they weren't.
Oh, I know. And people can selectively pick which ones they're going to listen to.
Of course.
Yeah. It's a choice.
Mhm.
Everything is a choice.
And if we all thought the same way, right? Now, can we? Yes, we have to have a foundation. We have to have a point to come together with. Yes. We have to have a starting position.
What really bugs me about COVID is absolutely nothing that we've heard was based on truth.
Well, what would you call the truth about it then?
Well, there wasn't tests made on anything. It was all assumption.
Well, we have to have a starting position of truth. People were dying. People are dying. That to me is a truth. And that
Okay.
affects anybody. Yeah.
Yeah. So
I mean,
what's
so
the truth?
what truth
What's
do
the
we
truth
start
of
with?
that? What's the truth of that?
People are dying.
Okay, but what's the truth of that?
That's a fact that people are dying. Like why does there need to be any more than that? Like
Well, there
compared to
does,
tests,
because-
compared to anything
because
else.
There's like, if you're going to do something about it, there has to be more than that.
So here, well, then, so we needed tests to prove it.
No, you didn't need to prove that people were dying. You already had that proof.
Well, here, and
But you
your
needed
point
to
was
have,
there
but
needed to be.
if there was any kind of solution, there needed to be some kind of proof around it, some kind of truth around it.
I'm not even at a solution yet. I'm just saying that people were dying, and that was the choice that people were making, whether like to die or not die.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, like, what's the base of it? Whether or not people ran tests to prove anything or not, it was like that was something that people were dying with. Okay.
Okay.
My point is I'm not saying that is the right starting position. Because we never did come to a point that there's a right starting position.
Well, it is the right starting position.
I think so too. Now then, like, what to do about it, that's a whole different story. Shoo.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I mean, in all reality, people couldn't accept that was killing people.
I get you. Yeah. I agree with you there.
So look, we have a starting position that we can align with.
That's actually
Then we
what
can
it
move,
was.
then we can move closer to the, like,
Yeah.
then we can move closer together, right? And notice where we're farther apart. Perfect.
Right. Yeah.
Rather than starting apart, we have to like find that neutral point that we can come back to. And again,
the-
it's like all issues have that point of view. It's like, well, what's more important? What's the most important thing? I mean, gun control's another one of those, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, the question is like, did we save more people or we kill more people by introducing this thing? Right? So now we can look at numbers, but like, is this thing save people? Right?
Yeah. We don't know that.
We don't
Never
know.
know that.
Yeah, it's but I think at the front of it, that was the debate that started the whole thing, right?
Yeah. But what I know that anyway, like close to my relative, friends, whatever, I know more people that are sick right now than when they say COVID started. Sick, dead, whatever you want to call them, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
so that's the thing. Like, is the per se vaccine save people? If the vaccine wouldn't be introduced, like, would I have more people dead or even more sick? That's the question, right?
Looking back at it in reflection to say, what would we do next in the next one? That's where the facts and the tests come out, and then those are just numbers, and everyone can take a number and make it look any way you want it to look.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Like, we've seen it with like a lot of studies. They can manipulate it, like
Yep.
a lot of studies about, right? So
yeah, which one do we believe?
right,
That's
Yeah.
that's the problem with linear thinking.
yeah,
It's like you can make it out to be whatever you want.
And that's the divide, that's the division, and and man, I don't know how we get away with it, because it's just been fueled even more. I think it comes to the point, it's like when we learn to test and check our own internal, and we're fine with people's doing that to themselves in the direction of protecting one another, not protecting, but for life, for living, can we begin to heal in that direction? Because I think it's right to your point, Craig, is that we have to listen to our internal dialogue. Listen to our internal heart, if you will, not our head, our heart.
Yeah.
And when everyone does that, everyone's going to be different. But the point is not to judge it, blame it, or contempt it. And we're a long
and
way
the
from
other
that
thing
yet.
is, it's like, do we need anything else beside ourselves to keep us safe? Or like to heal ourselves? It's like the story I shared in the beginning of this call. This guy didn't take anything.
Yeah.
So
Thing is, there's no way you can heal yourself if your inner authority isn't operating.
right.
That's That's really a fundamental.
Then it's your adrenal.
Well, yeah. Well, exactly.
Well, if they were to say like,
It's your sense of
okay,
inner
it's your
harmony.
it's your heart that like govern like parasympathetic and sympathetic, then I would say it's your heart. But then it's the adrenal that control that. So
Yeah, but what controls the adrenals?
it's the adrenal.
Controls
And
the
like,
adrenals.
you know, you heard about adrenal fatigue, fatigue, right?
Yep.
So
Yep.
same thing, because like people are in fight or flight all the time.
Oh wow, you just gave me another insight.
Even though there's no
Awesome.
tiger to run. So yeah, I start watching the documentary I told you guys. In the beginning, there was light,
Oh yes.
and yeah, it's pretty good. It's pretty good so far. I just watched probably like 15 minutes of it. A little busy at home, and but it's interesting because, you know, like she runs retreat of like 21 days without food, or yeah, without food. First week, no liquid whatsoever, and then she introduced
no
a little bit of
liquid?
water. No liquid.
week?
Yeah,
First week.
Yeah. First week,
Wow.
no liquid, but don't do it. You know, without a supervision of like a doctor or whatever, like maybe your inner knowing,
Yeah, because you'd
Yeah.
be
You're-
at risk with that.
your inner doctor. So really what she says, like in a retreat, that like you don't want to do pretty much anything on the first week, right? So you want to conserve all your energy. So
Yeah.
your body is like healing itself and whatnot. And the second week, now you're introducing a little bit of water, like maybe, and yeah, just liquid. And
This is the lady on this documentary.
Yeah. Well, one of them that was talking.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And then there's one lady that died after 8 days of not eating, not drinking. But
Okay.
what they don't tell in the story, because they all blaming, you know, they're really good at this, like blaming the person that kind of like push this, or like say, oh, you shouldn't be eating for like a week or something. And so what happened is like, but we're doing all our activities outside, doing a gardening, whatever. And yeah, she become dehydrated and then she died, right? She pushed herself too much. So like, it just shows that, you know, there's guideline you want to follow, or like your inner knowing.
Yeah, your inner authority would have prevented that for sure.
Yeah, oh, for sure, if you would have listened to it, right?
Yeah.
But then there's people that they're interviewed that they're doing the process, right? And they say, oh yeah, after 4 days, like I'm getting weaker and weaker. So I decide I'm gonna take just a little bit of sip of water, and then they're good. They're good for another 2 days, right? So,
yeah.
But this lady, I think she proclaimed that she hasn't been eating for quite a few years now. So, but feeding with prana, right? Like the breath and the sun. So,
But here's another thing, you know, an assumption that there's a program that a number of people can follow,
right.
is you know, that presumption is bogus.
That's dangerous, yeah, for sure.
That one right there, because you got to have your own program. Like it's
Yeah. Yeah.
because you're different from everybody else, and there's no way it's going to have the same effect on you as it is on anybody else.
No, it's personalized to you. Yeah.
I mean, and that's the biggest problem right now with everything that's on the market right now. It's just like we've got these one size fits all so-called solutions that everybody's buying up like crazy. And the thing is, they might actually be effective for maybe 10% of the people that buy them, if that. But they're marketed on a mass scale.
Right.
So, you notice there's only 2 or 3 testimonials, right?
Uh-huh.
And it might be that there's only 3 people that found it effective. But they're selling it to millions of people, right?
Yeah.
It's always the applier. The applier didn't apply it. So.
Right. It's like we were talking about a few days ago when
it's a $500 million market, right, Craig?
Right. Yeah. Well, exactly.
Half a trillion.
Half $1 trillion. Yeah, exactly. And it's like we were reading the fine print on that offer a few days ago on this on one of these sessions, and it's like results are not typical. So they're disavowing what they're claiming in their message. Their message basically says that we pretty much guarantee that this is going to work for you, and then the fine print says that we totally disavow that the results are not typical. So
right, it's usually like the small disclaimer in the bottom.
Right, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So they're basically calling bullshit on themselves, right?
Yeah.
If it worked, it wouldn't be a $500 billion market.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, isn't that the truth?
Isn't that the truth?
Yeah, because people wouldn't be buying more because what they bought would have caused the effect that they wanted.
So they're still not happy with it. So we buy more and grows and gets bigger and bigger and still doesn't produce itself. So a market puts itself out of business is one that works.
Right. Exactly. It belies the economy.
Mm-hmm. Which is counterintuitive. Yeah, to why we get it, why people do what they do, which is why has us trapped where we're trapped.
Yep.
Looks like a nice day in California, eh, Jesse?
It sure is. Looking for the
blue
shovel.
sky.
Pull. Yeah, it's going to be 98 today.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's going to be up here too.
Nice.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
All right, guys. Well, I'm gonna go get the kids off to school. It's I get to take them this morning, so it's been a while.
Oh, nice.
Oh, good deal.
Privilege.
Yeah, privilege.
Load up the SUV.
Yeah, the dirty work truck that the daughter does not like to ride in. That's for sure.
Of course. Oh yeah, I used to get complaints about that too when I drove my daughter to school.
But does she prefer to walk?
Good question. She hasn't done that yet. Let's put it that way.
No.
She prefers mom. She prefers
so it's
mom.
not that dirty. Yeah. So it's not that dirty.
That's
all
right.
Her friends were being driven to school in Escalades.
Oh yeah.
And I was driving a junker. She didn't like that.
Yeah. Cool. Well, have a great day, guys.
Yeah, thanks, guys. You too.
All right, take
Bye.